Got the worst cold a human being ever had. I've got a major presentation tomorrow. I've got to rest. And I'm out of NyQuil. I could take these, but I'd still be up all night coughing, which means I'd be a wreck for the presentation, which means I could get fired. What am I going to do?
Feeling like crap has become all too common these days. Everyone keeps asking that important question. You got Ivermectin?
Got Ivermectin?
Got Ivermectin?
Do you got Ivermectin?
Say goodbye to those illnesses that Big Pharma just can't cure. And say farewell and bon voyage to the parasitic forces preventing you from living. Real Deal Media is now powered up with the Wellness Center to bring you the medicines that matter. Go to www.twc.health.com/Dean Ryan. Make sure to use promo code Dean Ryan. Start truly living by taking back the control of your health.
Having an affair with this guy. He even admitted to the operator that it was a friend.
It is a manly type of an event here tonight. Welcome, everybody, to Real Deal Media's The Men's. I am your manly host here, Dean Ryan, and what a return to the status we once left off of here at The Men's, a return to form. We're going to be delving into everything men's. If you're new to this type of show here, we used to do it quite often every Thursday, which we call the College Nights, but this is The Men's, our original series where we tackle the issues that us men have to deal with, because it's not easy being a man in 2025. In fact, they're even saying men can get pregnant these days, and all kinds of just weirdo just kabuki theater of the just Dr. Demento laboratory kind of ordeals. And we're here to just put a kibosh to it all and tackle the issues that are keeping us men, or I should say portraying us men in a very poor light, but also discovering truly what women want in 2025. And ladies and gentlemen, I think we have the answers here tonight because we have some incredible panelists that will be joining us here once again. So let's get to it here, as tonight's episode is the survival of the finest. That's right. That's right. Well, now returning from his incredible fiery performance from a year ago, I believe it was about a year ago, where he truly made one of the most dastardly comments in Real Deal Mini history about women, and women have forgiven him, but he complained about the women complaining about the toilet seat. Well, that's the incredible, the infamous, the one, the only Sean Gregorian. Sean, welcome back.
Oh, hello, Dean.
It's good to see you. It's good to see you and your can of beer. So there it is. Okay, moving to our next panelist. Well, somebody who is supposed to be here and might be showing up shortly is our one and only Jon Bowne, but filling in for John, who's stuck in traffic because he's so manly. He drives so fast that he's probably on a high-speed pursuit by the cops over there in Austin. Filling in for John at the moment. Well, he's a legend to all men who's been getting his mojo and groove on since the 50s, or at least that we know of. The one, the only Jim Fetzer. Jim, welcome to the Men's. You are
Always
a legend.
pleasure. Always a pleasure, Dean. Delighted to be here.
You know,
and
Jim, I have
company.
Yes, Jim, I have to tell you that in all of the history of the Men's episodes, you have ranked the top man. You've been your scores are second to none, and you have just truly shown us younger men what it is to be a real man in the modern era here. So, okay, let's get started, and it's good to see everybody. And we have some surprises coming up in the next few segments or so. But let's get started with this now. Guys, we have to. The gender roles are changing. There's no doubt about that. They've changed, especially during the Biden administration. And Jim, I mean, am I right on that? I mean, we've seen things that we only thought we would see, like in Star Trek, but on the Adult Swim channel. But gender roles are changing, and I want to take a look at this now, because let me tell you here, they're saying the following: that men need to be more sensitive, men need to have more of an emotional understanding. And here's some figures, everybody. Let me just tell you about what I'm seeing here. Well, this is what we have. They're saying that women are more likely than men to say that society is not accepting enough of men. That's true. That's true. I mean, this is what they're feeding the kids in schools, and they're typically saying that roles are typically associated with women 49% versus 36%. So when you're growing up as a guy, you're not expected to be certain roles, or are you? Well, men are more likely than women to say acceptance is about right. Well, that's absolutely correct. How have changing gender roles impacted men and women? Well, many Americans feel that having more women working outside the home and men more involved in household chores is not a bad thing. Really. And even childcare. Can you believe that? I mean, what do they want us in the delivery rooms too? When women are just, transforming humans out of themselves? Well, overall, public thinks that the challenging roles of women and men in our society have been more beneficial for women than for men. Is that the case? Let's get into it. I'm going to start with you, Sean, because redemption has many syllables to it. Let's get to it. What are your thoughts on that, Sean? Should there be more men who are involved in childcare and in household duties?
Well, like a lot of things, these ideas might start with a kernel of truth. Maybe men at one point had to be a little bit more involved in that, be maybe a little more understanding, compassionate. But then, of course, like a lot of things, the pendulum swings too far and people forget that men are men, women are women. These gender roles are not just avatars to put on. They're not just cultural things. Let's face it, men and women are different. Our brains are wired different. We have different roles that we've adapted to for survival over many generations. And, we could make little adjustments here and there without losing what makes us women and men. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Okay, Jim, I've never heard such skewed kind of banter before. Let's, Jim, do you really have to be, changing diapers and all that? I mean, shouldn't you just be a man? Shouldn't you be cutting lumber down and stopping crime, Jim Fetzer?
Well, Dean, these roles have a long evolutionary history because women are the reproductive unit. In order for a species to survive, they must be protected. Men, of course, being physically stronger, are the natural choices to hunt, bring home the food, protect the family, and so forth. Women naturally disposed to take care of raising the children and maintaining the home. I mean, this is evolution. It's not something that's arbitrary. The Democrats, of course, want to go against evolution. They even want to deny that there are only two sexes. So we get harebrained proposals and the idea that men should be allowed to compete in women's sports, or that there's no real difference between them, but it's simply a display of their ignorance and massive stupidity that they should buy into any of that.
Interesting. And we want to ask Sean to turn his speakers down. I don't know if he saw the message. So that's interesting. Okay. But Jim, you raise a really great point. And it's almost like you can read my brain, which is quite scary and quite exciting too, depending. Well, that's just it. Democrats more likely than Republicans to say changing gender roles make life easier for women, men, and families. Oh, absolutely. Look at this graphic here. And we're going to bring Jon Bowne in, who just arrived here. Let's see this here. Okay, look at this graphic here, Jim. I think you're right on the money, but this says a lot about the society today. Really, politics is really driving society in some senses. Women leading satisfying lives, 69%, 48%. So look at this. So Democrats seem to be leading the way here, more likely than Republicans to say changing gender roles make life easier for women. Yeah, Democrat women seem to be okay. They want the changing of the gender roles. Very interesting, if you ask me. Let's bring in Jon Bowne here, who probably has a thing or two to say about this. Jon, welcome to the Men's here. We're glad you made it. You want to weigh in on this because the changing gender roles, I don't think is really a good population growth kind of ordeal. You know, we have population problems all over the world now. And how is this helping?
By changing gender roles, do you mean where men do everything now?
Well, that's a good question, Jon. You might have missed it. Now they're saying that men need to be more involved in childcare. We need to be more involved in the household duties. And what are your thoughts on that, Jon?
Yeah, we'll just handle everything.
See, that's what I thought too. Okay, so there you have it. It's not always peachy keen, is it, Jim? It's just not always the case. Okay, so here's another one I want to share with you, and we'll get back to the panel here as Jim's pondering a thought. I don't think he had to say something there. All right, now moving on here. Well, what about these silent struggles men are having? That's what we're hearing about. Silent struggles. What am I talking about? Well, they're saying that there's a silent struggle of men in the modern society. Yes. In 2025, you think? Well, they're saying key challenges faced by men are mental health stigmas. That's right. Men are often expected to suppress their emotions and be strong, and leading unaddressed mental issues, well, seem to devour anything else around them. Family and parental challenges, false accusations, and legal vulnerabilities. I think that is key. If, for instance, here, in cases of harassment of domestic violence, men face prejudice even when they are falsely accused. Despite these struggles, many men hesitate to speak out, fearing rejection of being labeled weak. True equality is only achieved when every voice, including those of men, are heard and valued. Jim, I want to go to you because I know you had a thought to expand on. Let's talk about that, how, yeah, that is a struggle. You know, many men and celebrities too, they keep their hands off of women in pictures now. That really changes things in the long run, doesn't it, Jim?
Well, I hate to say that the Democrat Party has become a party of wimps, but if you look at the ticket with this guy, Tim Walz, you got to ask yourself, what kind of a model is that for boys and men in America? Pathetic. The Democrats' ideology has led them to come into a contest with human biology they cannot possibly win. I think women generally admire men who are more confident, assertive, and aggressive, and are responsible, are able to give them the quality of life they want to enjoy by being good providers. In fact, that turns out to be the key characteristic women look for in men.
That's right. Yeah. And what is it about the silent struggle, Sean, is men do fear the accusations. They fear the mom mentality, don't they? And with that, just like cops today, in a sense, they're afraid of over excessive, and they're debating. They have these civil wars in their head about, should we accost somebody who's, committing crime or not? The same applies to men, doesn't it, Sean Gregorian?
Yeah, I think that men are concerned about being accused of things, especially with the saying, "Believe her, you don't get any due process." If you're accused of something, you're automatically guilty. And I think younger men nowadays are mostly affected by you see they're just not dating as much as men did in generations past. I think that they're with the modern social climate, they're afraid that they're going to say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing or be accused of something, so they're just not bothering, especially college age men. They're just not dating like the way that they used to.
That's a very true statement. Jon Bowne, I'm going to go to you. Where do we stand in, as you're witnessing this, for the future? Are men afraid to date? We're hearing. What do you think about that? Because men just don't want to deal with the dramas and the potential fallouts from anything that could go awry. Is that an issue, or are we just imagining things?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with social media and the generations that have been raised on it. We went many, many years without social media, thousands of years, and there was a whole different dynamic to the way that men and women, not only did they court each other, but the way that they, even as animals, were around each other. I mean, pheromones and
Yes,
part of nature. And
that's true.
like when you pursued a woman, you were generally outside, and she had been doing, like, your circulation was moving in your body. You weren't sitting staring at a phone doom scrolling all day. And I think, I don't think it's really their fault. I think it's, it's like crack.
There's a lot of
there's
truth to that, John. You're absolutely correct. And Jim, you can attest to this. You used to be able to go to the produce section at the grocery store, and you could just, as John was saying, like I go there, I sniff around and I follow the pheromones and see where they take me. Not a lot of guys are doing that still. Are they, Jim? I mean, that's how you met chicks, right, Jim?
In the produce section of a grocery store.
That's right.
That's over by the eggplants.
Go for it, John. Yeah, you play on, John.
Yeah. Oh, the eggplants. I just got that. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's what they're there for.
Well, no, I mean, I would say right down to even invisible parts of our beings. There are things that connected us within nature that I just don't see now between male and female. There were things that, I don't know, there's more of an excitement. There was a joy to the whole chase and being chased and just the whole thing. And now, like that, all of that's gone. The animal side is gone.
There is something about Sean. There's something about the natural fragrance of a woman that I can't describe, but it really is. It really is. It just gets you going, and you never forget it, and you can't describe what it is. You know what I'm talking about? Like John raised a good point, and I'll be thinking about this for a while. But what is it that I'm talking about? Like men, we have our mojo, but there's something that women have, and just their delicateness and intricate ways of how they get dressed. You know what I'm talking about, Sean?
Yeah, I think it's mannerisms and a certain energy that that they give off, or that certain ones give off. But
what kind of energy are you talking about, Sean?
Just the overall energy that a presence and a personality presents.
Okay. All right. Okay. That is so G-rated. I think you might be you could be right. Oh, a lot of people who is this choir boy that we have here? We have Elizabeth Ann over there on Facebook saying the guys follow my beautiful perfume scents. Really? That see, women know exactly what I'm talking about. Women know exactly. Okay. We have Mary Daling says that eggplants have nicotine, a nutrient. Okay, that must
That's
be
true.
that's like an aphrodisiac in a way, isn't it? Here we have on Rumble, we have Amnesty Native Beauty Uno. She says the following quote: "Nowadays, it's I need to see downstairs before we go on a date." Yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah. What about that, John? Is you know, I've never been on a date where the first thing they ask you is to drop trow, and show off. Is that really what the kids are asking to do these days, John?
I saw a female comedian saying, and I don't know if this is true. It was a female comedian, so who knows? But she says that, and I don't want to get too graphic here, but that the next generations, the girls are so desperate to get a boyfriend that they are using their downstairs smell on their necks before they go out.
Downstairs, Jim, are
But
you
as far
familiar with this?
as checking out
This is-
downstairs, I mean,
wow.
hey, I'm married, but that's a hell of a first date. Shit.
Well, here's the reality is, I mean, look, Gwyneth Paltrow released a perfume. What was it called, Jim? It was called you know what I'm talking about? Gwyneth Paltrow
It
released
smelled like it smelled of her nether regions.
Yeah, that's what it is. So this kind of is a thing that I've heard about as well. I'm not reading what Lena Star Moon just put over there on Rumble. That is that I can't. Okay, here's another one. We have Dame Pam over there on Rumble saying the following: what seriously contributed to the battle of the sexes was inflation, where women needed to work to help the family, which grew quickly since the late 1960s. Oh, very interesting. We have another one. Lena Star Moon says they shouldn't cause it. Then social media has caused many dramas. Thank you. Tika Boom says that's true. Men are sometimes falsely accused. Women comes back and says she lied, yet faces no repercussions. Yeah, I mean, Amber Heard she could just scrape Johnny Depp through the coals. And, now she's having kids over there in France. Thank you for that. Okay. And finally here, Nigel Dyer says fishy smell perfume. Okay, he knows exactly. He must have that bottle. Very interesting. Okay, so now we're gonna go switch to dating. If we see the struggles and everything, we understand what men are or men are not. But let me tell you about this now. These are some of these tips here, and we have scoured the internet. We have taken many, many different polls of people from across the country, and it led us to this point now. And I'm going to share this with you here. As now, here are some tips of what women want in 2025. And I am, for one, I'm perplexed in some sense. Well, number one, there's something that they're now calling daddy energy. Daddy energy. Have you heard of this? Daddy energy. Well, yes, that's absolutely correct. Women want daddy energy. And what that is exactly is most women want a strong masculine man who can provide for their family. Of course, this can be different kind of energy for most guys, but most women want a man who will want to help lead a family, yes, but also help lead in the bedroom. Really, Sean, I'm going to go to you because I think you have the daddy. You have the daddy energy that I think is part of what we're talking about here, and so do you, Jim. But Sean, you want to answer to that? Is daddy energy important today? Because it's what women seem to want.
Yeah, maybe they're looking for confidence, leadership, and referring to that as daddy energy. I don't know if there's, for some, there could be some dysfunction there. If daddy was missing, maybe they're looking for him.
Okay, that's called missing daddy energy. John, is leading a family important? Because and women, you could be married today as well. Women's preferences change even if they're married. You know, they evolve. Do you see that happening too, John? I mean,
No, I think women in general expect a man to be a decisive man. And I think in general, men, everybody in general thinks a man should be a decisive man. And what I mean by that is that you go throughout your day making key decisions. You may not even realize you're doing it. It's pretty involuntary, but some men have it and some men don't. Some men can't make decisions, consciously or unconsciously.
Yeah.
And I think the men that just naturally make decisive decisions, that's where that daddy energy comes from.
Daddy energy. Jim,
and
do you ever think
daddy decides to, daddy going to decide on everything.
This is for Jim. Jim, does Trump? Mary Darling says Trump has it. Does Trump have daddy energy? You know, because he certainly would. Well, I don't know about the bedroom, but he can certainly lead. Or it seems to be important in 2025.
Well, sure. Trump's an alpha male. You know, he's a natural born leader. He's had lots of women in his life. He's very successful with the opposite sex. I think the Democrat, for political ideological reason, have generated a lot of gender confusion, sex role misunderstanding, difficulties for young people in figuring out where they really fit in. One consequence may be that, at least at the high school level, kids aren't really dating so much. They're going out in groups, you know. I mean, they have fun and they're getting along well, but it's different than what might have been expected in the past.
That's true. That's true. And Jim, you definitely have daddy energy. I can sense that. But here's some more tidbits that we're now learning in addition to the dad energy that I just found out about. Well, they're saying women don't always want guys to be available. They're saying that's very important. Not always being available is a good thing. You want to be around for women. You definitely want to be around for that. They're saying you want to be there for the emotional needs or setbacks or anything of that nature. But you don't want to be around for the women you are dating. But early on in the relationship or dating pursuit, you shouldn't be too available. They're saying you should have your own friends, hobbies, obligations, and more. And yet you don't always want to appear that you want to make whoopee 24/7 hours a day. Or 24/7 rather. And I think that's a key thing. And although it's hard to admit, here's another one here, being protective. Well, women love security, and don't we know it? Who doesn't? But they're saying this feels similar to daddy energy, but they're saying it's about walking a woman to their car, stepping in when someone makes her uncomfortable. You want to make her feel protected. You should be. And also, men who are married too, or dating, you should always be sleeping nearest the door when sharing a bed. I think that's true, guys. Let's just have how true is that? It's those little things, like you go to a restaurant, you want to make sure your back is never to the entrance of a restaurant. You want to be always ready to go to war, don't you?
Yeah, the gun should be loaded.
Okay, yes. Bring a loaded gun to a date. That's always a good idea. Jim, you got to make them feel secure. Secure in the most subtle senses goes a long way. I think so too. Okay, let me go to the next one here. Well, here's another one here. And this one is a new term. And I think we should pay attention very closely now. They're saying the new trend is something called micromancing. Micromancing. Well, at first I thought, well, what does that mean? like really short people trying to, do some romancing. Well, no, it's romancing gone to the subtle terms once again. It's not the typical thing you might think of, but forget the days or saying of the overtop ways to show your affection to someone you just started dating by just flowers all the time. Instead, a new trend, something way more authentic, is hitting the dating world, this micromancing. And what's fascinating is, in a recent survey by Bumble, over half women still consider themselves romantics. And here I am thinking it was always the men who had to bring the romance. But 1/3 saying there is a lack of romance in their dating experience, and they need something that's a little less over the top. It's not about love Bombay style, over the top, movies, cruise, skydiving. Instead, it's those little and thoughtful moments that make you smile. When someone remembers your favorite song, sends you a text saying, "This made me think of you," or sending them the perfect meme that makes them laugh out loud. And I think that is so, so true, if you ask me. Next, finally, loud looking. Loud looking, just like I can hear myself back. It's very loud and it's looking. Well, gone are the days of let's see where this goes. Singles are now being direct and transparent about what they're looking for and not wasting any time, because time is currency. Instead of waiting 3 months to find out, you completely have different views in life, political ideologies, values, etc. Well, the new trend is called loud looking. According to recent Tinder, before it was Bumble, 70% of people looking for serious relationships are now putting their cards on the table from the start, which could be a deadly game, and don't ask me why. Being crystal clear about your non-negotiables is the key to attracting exactly what you want. Also, rubbing those pheromones and making sure you just sprinkle them on people everywhere you go. Well, for example, when you first meet someone, they're saying, "What does spirituality mean to you?" or religion. How often do you spend time with your family? Do you want kids down the road? Those are some qualifications of what they call loud looking. Okay, now, before we go to the guys here, let's now go to a dating coach who donated this video to us so she can tell us and highlight some of these things we just went over.
The number one thing women look for in a partner still needs to find you attractive and desire to pursue a romantic relationship with you. A no means no, no matter how kind you are. But one of the largest, most comprehensive studies to date of 68,000 women in 180 countries found that kindness was the most important trait, with nearly 90% of women thinking it was a top priority. Close behind were supportiveness and intelligence, whereas things like an attractive body were only valued by 22.3% of the women. More than financial security or attractiveness, what shows up again and again in the data is that women tend to pair up long-term with someone who is kind to them. Now, according to the senior scientist at the Kinsey Institute and lead researcher on this project, Virginia J. Vitztham, kindness is the key to the human capacity for forming long-term social bonds, so essential to our evolution, followed by an average buttocks, an attractive back again, and long hair. Average body types were actually the most popular, with 44.7% of women preferring it. Fit and athletic bodies were second, with 34.8% of the votes. And finally, only 2.5% of women globally preferred a very muscular body type.
Well, I'm already disqualified. I have a over average fit body and an over average buttocks. I'm not sure I'm making the grade this year, Jim. I don't know about you guys.
Go get them, Dean. Go get them.
You know, Jim, you want to comment on that?
You go out there and
go ahead.
Dean.
Well, bear in mind, our culture has been powerfully affected now by the influence of diversity in the sense of gay and lesbian relationships being promoted, particularly by one political party, onto a par with heterosexual, even though gay and lesbian relationships are not reproductive. And what that means is a society that becomes dominated by gay or lesbian relationships is not going to last long, because you're not going to have a replacement generation to succeed. But a lot of our discussion has been framed in terms of classic conceptions of of male-female bonding that are meant to produce children, which is not the case when you have lesbian and gays.
Right. Sean, you're a guy who, you see things out there. Are women just not interested in guys' abs anymore, and a very, a stunning, legs and buttocks and fit bodies? I guess the bar and has changed, hasn't it?
Yeah, I guess it depends on the individual. One thing I would comment on in terms of the video you showed is that when you're listening to somebody talk about dating advice or what people are looking for in a significant other, you have to take it with a grain of salt, because when you ask people, what do you want in a person and what is important to you, if people are given time to overthink it, their answer is often going to be different than what they actually gravitate to in a real life situation. So when you have these content creators talking about what do people want in a partner, and then they take surveys, you'll often find that those responses and explanations are very different than what people tend to select in a real life situation.
Very true statement, Sean. I couldn't have said it better. We have some people who have a lot to say on this. Of course we do. Here we go to Rumble. We have IP Rich says, are they looking for Jim's pink hammer? That's a question. I never thought about that. Good point. We'll get back to you on that. Here's another one. As we stay on Rumble, we have Tika Boom says, the demon rats don't even know what a woman is. No, they don't. They I remember the tall tale sign of the change of the changing of society through, the demon rats, as you called it, is when Bruce Jenner received the female athlete of the year or something like, what is it? Woman of the year by Time. What a joke. Good point.
And of course, that sensational film, What is a Woman? That's absolutely brilliant. I mean, if you haven't watched it, it's a cultural classic, in my opinion, as a critique of where things stand as recently as with a past administration.
That's right. That's right. Here's another one. We have Dame Pam, who says the following: if a man comes right out and asks me to sleep with him, I slap him in the face. That should just happen naturally in time if you both love each other. Dame Pam, I would also add that some men like to be slapped in the face, so you might be turning them on. So you might want to try a different maneuver. Yeah, some men pay top dollar for that. Thank you. Here's another one. We have Kenny 59B. Thank you, Kenny. We need some men out there in the live chats representing the manhood. He says the following: you always protect your family with your own life. I am always armed. That's right, ladies. He has nice arms. Check him out. He'll send pictures. Thank you, Kenny. Here we have Lena Star Moon says personality and someone who can make you laugh. Yes. What about that, Sean? What about women who can make you laugh? Is that, a qualification that maybe gets overlooked of, from what a man needs, maybe? Is that,
maybe.
I mean, you don't hear that often.
Yeah, I personally, I enjoy, if a woman has a sense of humor, that's definitely an appealing thing to me. So yeah, maybe that's overlooked when people are asked what they want.
Okay, I'll bring John back in here. We have Elizabeth Ann, who says, my friend says he has a square buttocks. Okay, we don't know what that means. That's interesting. And yes, Belinda says laughter is the greatest aphrodisiac. Is that true, John?
Absolutely.
What about laughter in relationships?
Laughter. Yeah, you want to be having a good time. You want to be happy. Generally, women don't like to be thrown down a flight of stairs. They don't like having their hands glued to a steering wheel in negative degree weather. No, not me. I heard about
yeah.
And then you generally don't want to call them out in the grocery store. Put down that cucumber. You don't know what you don't want to yell at them. But laughter goes a long way. It goes a long way. It goes a long way. It goes a long way.
Yes, it does. Okay, it certainly does. All right, we have a hard break coming up here. And we have a question for Jim. See, already, Jim has portrayed what a true masculine man can be. We have Dame Pam asking, does Jim ever wear Old Spice? If so, that's really hot. Jim, you want to answer that question?
When I was a kid, I actually did use Old Spice. That's funny. I tend not to these days. I don't even use aftershave. And I don't even use shaving cream. I just do with soap. Wow, what can I say?
You're just so natural. You're so authentic. You just naturally smell like Old Spice. Very great point. I believe so. Okay. Yeah, Kenny seems to be on fire tonight. He says, we need to know people before we lay down. People don't talk about love, just sex. Yeah, well, you know what to me is okay. And I heard this somewhere, I forgot where, but the love in the relationship is the airplane. The sex is the fuel, isn't it? Does anyone agree to that, or is that just me?
Oh, you're not married.
Repeat it, Dean. What were you saying? Your statement?
Dean's saying he's not married.
Well, no, here's what I'm saying, and Sean can back me up here. And if the guys out there who are watching feel free to do the same, that the relationship and the love aspect of that whole thing is the airplane. It's what's the aircraft is, but the fuel is the sex, as some might say. And Sean, am I far off base from that? Because you agreed with me backstage.
Well, I would say it's not the only fuel, but it's more like a two-stroke engine where you have to mix two ingredients to get the fuel.
Wow, that's really that's for simplifying it. Yes, you might be true. And then high karate too. Yeah, Jim used to wear high karate in the 70s, but he doesn't remember his dating life from that decade because he was busy.
I thought Jim was more of a Dakar kind of guy.
He's natural right now. I mean, It's not like that one guy that said he wore deer piss that was on the show last. Okay, so we're going to take this. We got to take a quick break, everybody. We got to take a quick break. Okay. We're going to just take this momentary pause here. When we get back here after this quick word from our sponsor, when we get back, we're going to actually have one of the ladies come up here and try to pick our brains for a little bit. And then we have some surprises that we're going to parlay into with all of you here tonight on a very special occasion as the return of the men's. So stand by. We'll be right back after this quick message. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We are back here at the Men's. Welcome back, everybody. I am still Dean Ryan, your head man here tonight, as we devour the narratives that were just spoon-fed to us this past decade, it feels like, in getting to the bottom of what men are ailing from, but also what women truly want. That's right. I don't think it's a daycare babysitter, if you ask me. We're going to get into it a bit more here as we're going to bring on a woman representative of the woman species. That's right. Yes, we have a spokesperson from that species over there. But let's welcome back our panelists here tonight of men, the legend, the Gregorian calendar heir of the throne, Sean Gregorian. Welcome back. Okay. We also have Jim Fetzer, who is dousing himself with Old Spice in high karate at the moment, and I think lifting weights. He's back with us now. Welcome back to you, Jim Fetzer. And yes, and we have Jon Bowne. Okay, let's get into it all now. All right, we're going to bring a female representative, regular of the show. Everybody knows her as Rebel Mama. She has agreed to do this. She's going to pick our brains a little bit about what it's like, everything we talked about here tonight, but also some customized questions. And then we have a surprise coming up here. So let's welcome to the stage, all the way from Canada, Rebel Mama. There it is. Okay. Welcome, Marnie. It's good to see you. And we're going to have to ask you to unmute yourself and let's have at it.
Good evening, everybody. So far, so good. This has been very spiritual and odd.
Yes.
Now,
yes,
everybody that is here, I think, is either living in a blue state or close to a blue city. Am I right?
I'm in a blue city, in a red state.
Okay. We got a blue state, but you're in a red section of a blue state.
No, I'm in a blue section of a red. I'm in Texas.
Yeah, I know. You're Texas. Dean's in California, but he's in a red section. But he gets around.
Allegedly.
But he does
Allegedly.
Get around.
Yes.
Okay. Here's my question. What is the climate like when you're just walking around in your closest city? Do you still hold a door open for a woman that you don't know, or do you size them up and duck, or what do you do? I mean, Republican men tend to have a few more manners, but is that something that's still socially acceptable, or are you afraid of getting popped?
Good question. Do we still open doors? And what they call that chivalry? Are we still chivalrous? You want to go first? Why don't we start with John, and then we'll go Jim and work our way around. Go ahead, Jon Bowne, if you will.
Yeah, there was we had a reporter that came to InfoWars early on, and she had been in California the whole time, and she was really shocked how the men in Texas in the South just naturally are very courteous, will open a door, will address you as ma'am, will, whatever, just be very courteous and kind. Whereas she said in California, and I'm sure it's not everywhere, but she said that men are generally don't even pretend that women are there or something. But growing up in the South, it's not just I would say that younger men in the South are still opening doors.
To hear.
Yeah, I'd say it's more of a cultural thing than a generational thing. It seems to be to me.
Okay, cool.
Good.
How about the California boy?
Good question. Well, why don't we go, Jim, who is ready to pile drive this one home. Jim, you want to answer that? Are you still chivalrous? Do you open doors for women? Do you how do you work it as a man, Jim Fetzer?
When I have the occasion, of course, I'm glad. I mean, I've married now 47 years, and I certainly open doors for my wife. Going to restaurants, I'll open doors for others coming in. I don't have any hesitation, things like that, and believe in being very cordial with neighbors and so forth. But I suppose it's kind of a restricted, not, this is something more for active young social dating parties, I suspect, as you intend the question.
I think she means like, you
I
you
just mean when you're out in public. Like, is it dangerous to open a door for one of these loony lefties? Are they going to take a swipe at you?
In the South, it's dangerous if you don't open a door for some women.
Ah,
good point.
Yeah. You might get called out by a Southern woman. She'd say, "What's your problem, honey?"
Well,
or
let's
bless
go to
your heart, boom.
Yeah, bless your heart, which means something totally different.
Let's go to well, go ahead.
I'm in Wisconsin, and of course, Madison is extremely liberal, but I've never had a soul complain when I open the door for parties to enter, restaurants, grocery stores, whatever. So,
massage parlors, Sean, let's go to Sean, who's in the creepy state of Connecticut. Are you still chivalrous, Sean? Do you call women ma'am or little lady or darling? Is that something you partake in? Clementine, hot lips, sweet cheeks. What say you, Sean Gregorian?
Well, I don't know about those names, but I always hold the door open for women to go in first. They often seem pleasantly surprised. Some of them seem downright shocked, but happy about it. They'll hesitate and they'll go, "Oh," and and they seem very happy about it. But yeah, I'm in a blue state, but I've never gotten a negative reaction to it.
I haven't run into a woman yet that's complained. I've seen women that are shocked by it, but I haven't.
Most of the Democrats here are more moderate and not your far left, progressive type.
Okay, so if you heard that, so women get turned on when Sean opens the door for them, and that's possible. That's very possible. They just start, they go into heat, and I believe it. How I see it here is we have Belinda saying, "I love that. It should be universal. It's just manners." Very interesting. Yes, and she still loves chivalrous behavior. We have Jason Wright, who's a very respectful gentleman, saying the following: "I open the door for women and wave strangers passing by on the road. It's a Southern thing."
Can I add something to what he just said?
Go ahead, Jon Bowne.
So I'd grown up mainly in Kentucky, and then became a city mouse in New York City for a while. But then now I've lived in Texas for a long time, over 20 years. And when I drive out to West Texas, you'll get behind an old pickup truck, and they will, and most people get road rage or whatever, but you'll get behind like an old pickup truck with an old farmer in Texas, and he'll slow down and he'll put his arm out the window and pull to the side of the road and wave you by, and then wave at you very friendly as you go by. And that's happened to me several times. That's just how, aggressively kind and courteous people can be,
Yes, good point. But Marty, to harp on what we covered earlier, a lot of the women are saying, and they call it looking loudly. You don't want to do that. But to answer your question and to be a good patron of this, the panel here, I certainly open doors for women. And now that I'm thinking about it, I even walk, if I'm walking with a woman, I walk nearest the road. So in the event there is, a dangerous driver or whatever, that hypothetically I would die first and save her life. I guess subconsciously that's what we're supposed to do, as Jim was alluding to earlier. Go ahead, Jim. You want to add to that?
Or you are a human mudflap.
The practice originated in the days of carriage, so the man would walk closer to the street, let the carriage go through a puddle and splash water to protect the woman. That's the origin.
Exactly, the human mudflap.
That's right. That's right. Okay, Martin, we have time for one more inquiry before we go to our final segment here, which is a real shocker and stunner here. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, this one's on a more a lighter note, but it's something that only gentlemen can answer. Have any of you, on a previous or current podcast, sat at your desk in your I see your big office chairs, everybody's got one. How many of you are not wearing pants?
How many? I missed the last part.
Has anyone done a previous or current podcast without pants?
No.
About what?
I'm not Brian Stelter.
No, she said Jim, pants.
Jim, are you
Do
wearing
do
pants?
Yeah, what are you wearing? Jim, what are you wearing? Can you
We
stand
only
up
ever
real
see
quick?
your golf shirts, Jim. We never see your pants.
I got some
Yeah,
dark blue sweats on at the moment.
well, the women want to see your sweatpants. Go ahead, Jim. If you could model those for.
You want me to stand up? You mean I don't know if you can see it.
No, I was just asking if you guys do this in your boxers. That's all.
That's an answer.
Like Brian Stelter got caught doing.
That's an answer.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, it was someone I know who you're talking about. Sean, how about yourself? Are you wearing?
He's not wearing
any pants.
Nothing. He's not wearing. Anything.
If so,
he looks frozen, Dean. That cannot be a good thing.
Well, you got him on that one. I'll say this. I'll be totally transparent. Oh, he's back. Okay, go ahead, Sean. If you could, are you wearing pants when you do shows? Do you wear pants? Are you wearing them now? If not,
technically, I've done shows without pants, but only because I was wearing shorts.
Well, there you have it.
But yes, I
go ahead, Sean. Let's see that. Go ahead.
See, I have my pants.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
One more time.
Back to you, Dean.
I'm just taking my pants off. And I feel a lot better now.
Okay, I don't know what happened here. I don't know what happened. Anyways, I'll say this just to be totally transparent is, you know what? There was a time that I was really late for a show, and by the way, I'm the kind of guy that always is losing my socks.
Okay.
In my underpants as well for some reason. In fact, I just and there was a time I was just really late for a show, and I had to. You know what? It was the show I did with Jim. Jim, it's the New Year's Eve show that we did, and I spilled beer all over myself, all over my pants, and we were live on air, so I had to do the rest of the show in my undergarments. Yeah.
I could hear you off to the side yelling and cussing.
Yeah, because as it was exploding, my pants fell off, and it was just terrible. So yeah, that should answer the question. Okay, well, there we have it, everybody. We got to know each other very well here on this
we did.
On
Thanks,
this panel. Thank you very much. Pants to the ground. Okay, so we're now going to segue to the final segment here, and thank you for staying with us tonight. You know, it's just like last night or yesterday, we were talking about the Houthis and the upcoming war, and here we are talking about my underpants, and just incredible the contrast. Yes, Jason, caught with pants down. Yeah, that's right. And Sean was frozen, Belinda. That's absolutely true. Elizabeth Ann, yeah, let's take all our pants off. Thank you. She just did a minute ago. And Robin certainly remembers that show. Yes, she does. Okay. Yeah, we do. And you might remember this one too. Okay, this is the final segment here. And because we only do this ever so often, it's that time. And if you don't know what time it is, well, you're going to find out very soon. It's time to play.
What would Jim do? What would Jim do? What would Jim do?
What would Jim do? Okay, this is America's #1 favorite game show. You can play this at home as well. If you have the answers in the live chats, we want to see them. We're going to reward you with an incredible prize. Maybe not so much here on Earth, but if you make it to heaven, that's where you're going to receive it. In fact, some say that's the prize in its own right. Well, that's not for us to decide. Anyways, we're going to go through 5 questions and scenarios for what would Jim do. And I'm going to ask We're going to ask Marnie to play as well. We're going to ask Jon Bowne and Sean Gregorian, who turns women on just at the drop of a hat or just opening the door. But as we're finding out, but here's the great thing: 5 questions, 5 scenarios about what would Jim do in today's modern society. What if he were to be amongst the millennials or the Gen Zs, or even just a potential, what if he had to start dating again? What would that be like? So it has a lot to do with this show here as we go. Okay, so Jim, are you ready for this? You think you are prepared to answer properly and truthfully?
I'll do my very best, Dean.
Okay, yes, he will, and I believe it. All right, here we go, everybody. What would Jim do? And yes, and Sean's ready too. He is absolutely correct. Okay, here we go. And by the way, we might have someone else dropping by here, but I don't know yet. It's just that kind of weird kind of evening. Okay, here we go. First question is, well, it's hard to do that when Bugsy is, okay, what the hell's going on here? Thank you. I'm going to have to move. Excuse us. Okay, here's the first question. As Gen Z embarks on college, Jim returns to teaching and discovers A, he'd rather give voice lessons to a family of cats. B, euthanasia isn't such a bad idea after all. C, he really enjoys eating Hot Pockets while in the break room. Or is it D, he's the only one that still goes to streaking on campus? So we're going to start with you, Sean, of what could it be, and I'll refresh the screen here so you can all see it together as a happy bunch here. So there it is. What would Jim do if he returned to college and started teaching again? He'd rather give voice lessons to a family of cats. Euthanasia. B. Go ahead, Sean. At your leisure. Any moment now.
I think he'd rather give voice lessons to a family of cats.
Interesting. Okay. So it's he picks A, he'd rather give voice lessons to a family of cats. Let's go to you, Jon Bowne, next. What would Jim do? Tell us, please.
Well, Jim would be teaching philosophy, and he would reintegrate himself with Plato and Aristotle and Socrates.
Interesting.
Because you just gotta start fresh all over again. And I think the rhetoric that he'd be facing at this point, that's happening on college campuses, would cause him to be the only one that still goes streaking on campus.
Okay, D.
I think he'd lose it.
D, he'd rather go streaking on in campus, and you're not the only one on that. A lot of people feel the same. We have Twilight who says D. Yeah, I think so too. If you ask me, we have Tika Boom on Rumble that says A, but don't let that influence you. Let's go to you, Rebel Mama. Marnie, go ahead.
I'm going to agree with Sean and go with A, because I have a feeling that Jim has a low tolerance for stupidity, and those kids came through public school. He's got a lot of undoing to do before he can reteach.
Good. Very, very critical thinking there. Okay, A, or could be A or D. Jim, what is the final answer of what you would do? What you would do if you return to teaching Gen Z at college? Go ahead, Jim. What's the answer?
Well, a philosopher has to be philosophical. So even if he's in a challenging situation, he enjoys a respite by those Hot Pockets during the breaks.
It's C. He really enjoys eating Hot Pockets while in the break room. What a new invention that is.
Yeah.
He is filled with surprises. Okay, we're going to go to our next one. And nobody saw that coming. Okay, let's go to this one here. This is question. I'm going out of order. My God, I'm going totally out of order, but I don't care. Here we go. Question number 2 of what would Jim do? What would Jim do? Here it is. What would Jim do with Trump back in office? A joyful Jim Fencer begins to A, invest in spray tans in colors his hair yellow. Is that what he does? Or is it B, refers to his wife as Melania and daughter as Ivanka? Is it C, write a new cooking book called The Art of the Meal? Or is it D, gloat and brag in front of liberals more than usual? Good question. Let's start with John. Let's start with Marnie and work our way backwards this time. Marnie, please tell us.
This is easy. D. Definitely D. Jim has earned it. He has been proving them idiots for at least 50 years. And he finally gets to say, I told you so. Definitely D, gloat.
D, gloat and brag in front of liberals. Okay. Go to you, Jon Bowne. What does Jim do? A joyful Jim, I should say. Joyful.
That is a pretty easy answer. It is D. And like to be a fly on the wall on that situation.
Interesting. Okay, Sean Gregorian, tell us at this time, what does Jim do? A joyful Jim as Trump's back in office.
One would assume it's D, but I'm going to go with C, write a new cookbook called The Art of the Meal. When I heard him describe those wonderful pizzas on that bumper segment that you play, I imagine that he would have some good pizza recipes and maybe top it off with a giant mango margarita.
Well, see, Sean, that's why I couldn't pick the Hot Pocket answer the last time, because he's got far better taste than a frozen pizza.
He doesn't go after the low-hanging fruits. Jim, at this time, please tell us, what are you doing, Jim, with Trump back in office? How joyful are you, Jim Fetzer?
I couldn't resist writing a book, The Art of the Meal. Sean nailed it.
Writes a new cooking book called The Art of the Meal. Wow. Sean, you are leading this game by a landslide at this point in time. Congratulations thus far, but we still have 3 more to go. It's anyone's game now. We have 3 more to go. You can only tie it if you get lucky here. Okay, so let's go to the final, or number 3. Question number 3 is, of what would Jim do? And it's a nail biter. Real nail biter, not a pillow one. Okay, number 3, in 2025, Jim wants to, what does he want to do? Well, he wants to get back in shape at the gym again and begins A. Is it A? The personal trainers get jealous because of his ripping abs. This is what happens when Jim goes back to the gym. Or is it B? Women start confusing him for Steve McQueen. Is that what's happening? Is it C? Jim starts wearing spandex in leg warmers 7 days a week. Okay. Or is it D? Sprays himself with water bottles to make it appear he just did a 3-hour workout. Is that what he's doing at the gym? Oh my. Okay. Very good question. Let's start with you, Sean Gregorian, the leader of the pack here. Tell us at this time, what is it, number 3? What would Jim do at the gym?
I think that the women start confusing him for Steve McQueen.
Very, very, Sean is very methodical. He's getting in the mind frame of a Jim Fetzer right now, trying to win this game for the gold. Let's go to you. Let's go to you, Jon Bowne. What is it Jim doing at the gym?
I don't think Jim wants to work out, but I think he wants to look like he is. So I'm going to go with D. Sprays himself with water.
With a water bottle. Wow.
And
okay. He's a deceiver at the gym. And a lot of people are saying that too. They're saying D. Yes, a lot of D's. Okay, Marnie, tell us, what is Jim doing back at the gym? How is he getting in shape?
I'm going to have to agree with John and go with D. Jim's not a dummy. It's all about the appearance. It's having the right gear and looking the part. And nobody knows if you spent 2 hours in a massage chair.
Wow, ye of little faith. Jim Fetzer, tell us at this time, what are you doing and what's happening while you're at the gym? Jim?
There's this wonderful scene in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where at the Playboy Mansion, Steve McQueen is asking a woman's advice about Sharon Tate, and she looks over at Sharon's husband and her dearest friend, and she said, "Well, she clearly has a type. She likes talented guys who look like 12-year-old boys." And McQueen says, "Damn, I never had a chance. Look like Steve McQueen, you got it, Sean again."
Sean.
Most women these days don't know who Steve McQueen is.
That's right.
Oh,
That's the only
there's
reason
pushback, Jim.
Yeah.
There's pushback. Jim, and before we continue, how does it feel, Jim, to have two of the panelists here tonight saying that they can't even envision you doing anything at the gym other than spraying yourself with water? How does that make you feel, Jim Fetzer?
Well, I enjoy it. I love the company.
Okay. Well, we understand.
He's
done it before.
Him sprayed with water is a much better picture than spandex and leg warmers. Think about it.
Okay. Well, you might have a point here. Okay, let's move on here. We understand what he's doing at the LA Fitness over there. Okay, let's go to the next one here. This next one is number 4. En route to Las Vegas. Jim goes to Las Vegas in 2025 now, and in doing so, well, he runs into Wayne Newton on a recent trip to Las Vegas. He runs into Mr. Vegas. That's Wayne Newton. And what ensues, you ask? Well, is it A, ask him if Dunka Shane is about a guy named Shane? Okay. Ask him if Dunka Shane is about a guy named Shane, which, that's I can see how that happens. Very fair. Okay. B, starts calling him Engelbert Humperdinck after one Moscow Mule. Well, that's quite insulting. I would be ashamed. Is it C, gets into a heated debate on whether a fig Newton is just a cookie after all? Okay, I can see that. Or is it D, ask him if parking is validated? So what does Jim do here in Las Vegas with Wayne Newton? Let's start with Jon Bowne this time and mix things up. Okay, go ahead, John.
I think he asked him if Donka Shane is about a guy named Shane.
Yes. Good point. Okay, let's go to you, Marnie. Let's go.
Very inquisitive.
I gotta go with D. I gotta go with Engelbert Humperdinck and the Moscow Mule.
Oh, I can see him doing that. Not even after one drink, just a sip. I might say. And finally, let's go to the front runner of the game here tonight. Let's go to you, Jon Gregorian Fetzer. Go ahead, Sean. What is it?
Well, I think Jim's too educated to not know what Donkashane means. I'm going to have to go with starts calling him Engelbert Humperdinck after. Well, I think it would take more than one Moscow Mule, but that's the closest one would be B.
Okay. Wow, there you have it.
Can
Jim,
I change my
let's go
answer to C?
To C, okay, gets into a heated debate on whether a fig Newton is just a cookie after all. Yes, you can. I mean, that's thinking outside the box there. Okay, Jim, tell us what you did with Wayne Newton recently in Las Vegas, if you would, at this time.
Well, it was after a couple of Moscow Mules. I asked if we could sing together, Donka Shern. So that's going to be the closest.
So
it's a mix.
So A. So it's A, or is that what we're saying?
And I
it's
bailed
A.
on my answer.
I'm saying it's closest. There's none exact here, sad to say.
Okay, well, and you wouldn't remember after all. It was a wild night you have. Okay, we have the final question, everybody. We have the final question. This is for all of the marbles, but right now it's 2-0. Nobody's has another point except for Sean Gregorian.
Make this a 3-pointer, Dean. You can make this a 3-point question.
Jim, it's like you stole the words from my thunder and my breath. But yes, this last question is for 3 points. And this is no joke. This is no joke because the losers of this game have to sever their finger live on air, just like they do in Japan. I think that's what we're doing. So we'll be doing that. And so let's prepare ourselves for the final question here at What Would Jim Do? I've been waiting for this moment my whole life. I cannot begin to tell you. Okay. Thank you. We have a live band in the audience. You may not know. All right, here we go. What would Jim do? Final question. And this one's a real dandy. Again, by the way, we've polled many people across the country. That's how we've accumulated some of these. Here it is. Number 5, final one. Jim attempts to date again in 2025, and the following happens. All right. And you have to be truthful, Jim. No, no half assing. Does it A, gets frustrated with all the toxic masculinity talk and punches out a millennial? So A, gets frustrated with all the toxic masculinity talk and punches out a millennial, or is it B, goes on a date and starts reminiscing on his old Marine days, ask his date if she wants to go to a titty bar? Okay. That might be the answer right there. We may not have to go any further. Okay. And my intern wrote these, by the way, not me. Is it C? Recites French poetry and begins to develop a French accent that never goes away. Okay. Or is it finally, could it be, or is it D, realizes everyone is miracle jabbed and decides to read the paperback edition of War and Peace? Wow. Stunning stuff, Jim. Stunning stuff. Oh, okay. So why don't we start with the clear front runner of tonight, who is, I believe, still Sean. Why don't we start with you if we could? And okay, there we have it. Okay, let's go to Sean. What is it at this time? What is your answer of what would Jim do in the hypothetical scenario? He's dating in 2025 once again. Tell us what happens.
I'm going to say he gets frustrated with all the toxic masculinity talk and punches out a millennial.
Okay, so Jim has violent tendencies, you're saying. Okay, very interesting. Okay, let's go to Jon Bowne. Tell us what Jim does on that date.
Yeah, Sean's answer is interesting, but I don't think he would punch a trans person. So I'm going to go with French poetry and the French accent that never goes away, just because it seems like a movie in itself. And I want they call it the forever accent, but good point. So you pick C, recites French poetry. Okay, finally, Marnie, tell us what happens on that date in 2025 with Jim.
I think Jim's been out of circulation for a while. It would be a culture shock no matter what. But with all that's going on in this world, it's got to be D. He's going to throw up his hands and read a book and say, I'm too old for this shit.
Okay, it is D. Okay, yeah, and that's what Jim wants us to believe, that he doesn't know anything about the pop culture of today. Okay, Jim Fetzer, tell us what happens on this date in 2025, if you could.
Well, I'd go on a date, and after a couple of Moscow mules, I'd start reminiscing about my old Marine Corps days and how much I enjoyed titty bars.
But of course,
let's see that again. It's B. Jim attempts to date again in 2025, and the following happens. He goes on a date and starts reminiscing about his old Marine days and asks if she wants to go to a titty bar. Okay, well, that's it, everybody. Wow.
Wait,
I didn't
if she
see
wants
that
to go to a what? If she wants to go to a what, Jim? What was that?
A titty bar.
Well, okay. Thank you.
I was my parents thought it would be great. They'd gone to Europe the year before, and this was between my sophomore and junior year. They thought I should go on a bicycle tour to Europe, but on the way I wound up in New York, and I was 15 years old in Times Square. And I noticed this bar had something going on in there, and I wandered in and learned a little more about life.
Wow. Wow. You just learn something new all the time. And quite frankly, I'm not sure how much of a virtual scenario this is. I truly believe now that Jim actually took a date to a titty bar. I'm pretty sure of that now at one point in time in his dating career. But anyways, okay, we have concluded. And the winner of tonight's What Would Jim Do is the one and only, I guess, returning champ. He won the last time, Sean Gregorian. You seem to know Jim the best. Any words for yourself as the winner?
I'm speechless. Thank you.
Congratulations, Sean.
You know, I just, like a profiler, I just kind of imagine myself as Jim.
Okay, wow. Yeah, like a they call that voyeurism, don't they? A visual voyeur.
Jim's full of surprises.
He really is. Jim, you know, you're just a man of many surprises, but that is going to conclude What Would Jim Do?
What would Jim do? What would Jim do? What would Jim do?
What would Jim do? Another rendition of just a phenomenal, a phenomenal study of Jim Fetzer's brain. I think that's it's safe to say here tonight. Okay, so that's how we have it. Anyways, that's going to conclude the men's here tonight. I want to thank all of our panelists here. I want to thank Marnie from Canada. I want to thank the man in the yellow hat, Jon Bowne, all the way in Austin, Texas. I want to thank the clear winner by a long shot. And Jim, you know, you must not even be surprised that Sean Gregorian just got you down to a T. He has been studying you all this time. I mean,
it's terrific. I'm very flattered. I enjoy these little episodes, and thank you, Dean, for your creativity.
Well, Jim, I would be flattered, but too, I would be scared that he's studying you like just casing the joint. You know what I mean? So, but thank you. He's the winner, clear winner tonight. And thank you, Jim. We got to know you very well. And so that's going to conclude that. I want to thank our audience all over the world who are watching here. So for Jim Fetzer and for the clear winner, Sean Gregorian, for Marnie over there in Canada and Jon Bowne in Texas, I'm Dean Ryan saying thank you for sharing a bit of your night with all of us. Until next time, always remember to stay tuned and stay awake. Good night, everybody. Good night.